hitting them awfully hard. I mean, I don't know if you can possibly get hit harder, but these are thugs and animals and horrible people. But you can't hit anybody harder than we've hit them.
The regional skies are currently witnessing the most intense and highly coordinated military logistical activity of the last 2 decades. C-17 Globemaster III transport aircraft have established an almost seamless and massive air bridge, deploying 20,000 fully equipped military personnel to strategic forward operating bases surrounding the Strait of Hormuz. This immense deployment is not limited merely to the transfer of infantry personnel. It also encompasses a heavy armored fist including M1A2 Abrams main battle tanks, Stryker armored personnel carriers, and advanced mobile logistical support units. Operational data indicates that this fresh and dynamic force has been rapidly stationed at strategic points closest to active conflict zones. This massive move, aimed at consolidating the strategic devastation caused by airstrikes through physical area control, has fundamentally altered the regional military balance in a single night. Now, a massive ground force capable of not just defending lines, but direct occupation and sealing the region awaits top-tier orders. To ensure the security of the air bridge and establish absolute deterrence over enemy elements in the region, nuclear-capable B-52 Stratofortress heavy bombers have raised their patrol flights to the highest alert level. These massive aircraft are not merely conducting a symbolic show of force. They hang in the air as a strategic sledgehammer capable of flattening enemy fortifications, deep tunnel systems, underground bunkers, and logistical supply lines through the doctrine of carpet bombing before any potential ground offensive. The deafening engine roar of the B-52s has become the most concrete and unavoidable threat of destruction for coastal defense batteries and radar stations. Military planners strongly anticipate that these aircraft could begin a large-scale field clearing operation before the 20,000 troops set foot on land. This massive shadow in the sky is the clearest harbinger of the approaching great ground storm, and an irreversible source of psychological collapse for enemy elements. The simultaneous entry of such a large force, 20,000 professional soldiers, into the region is a certification that the operation has entirely moved beyond the scope of limited intervention and into the preparation for a total invasion. The enormous amount of ammunition carried by C-17 transport aircraft, the established field hospitals, and fuel depots prove that the Washington administration is fully prepared for a long-term and high-intensity ground conflict. Logistical experts emphasize that for an air bridge of this scale to be sustainable, the supply lines for fuel, spare parts, and ammunition must operate with flawless precision. Currently, military bases in the region have reached their highest occupancy and combat readiness rates in history. This fresh power is not just a diplomatic deterrent. It represents the critical mass required to physically seize and maintain control over designated strategic targets. The Iron Fist has risen with determination, and the strategic point of its impact is about to cease being a military secret. Kharg Island is no longer just a distant bombardment target. It has been marked in bright red on operational maps as an occupation zone. With the arrival of the 20,000-strong additional force fully equipped in the region, the Pentagon's Kharg Island Operation Plan has officially come into effect. Physically seizing the island means gaining direct control over 90% of the regime's total oil revenues and establishing a strategic American fortress that will function as an unsinkable aircraft carrier in the middle of the Strait of Hormuz. Amphibious assault ships, special forces, and paratrooper brigades are conducting final preparations on simultaneous and multidimensional attack scenarios designed to neutralize the island's sophisticated defense systems within minutes. This operation is a strategic Talon move intended to strip the enemy of its greatest asset, the power of global blackmail through energy. When Kharg Island falls, the regime's economic and strategic reason for existence will be erased from the stage of history. The occupation of Kharg Island is considered one of the most risky and complex operations in the world from a military perspective. The dense minefield surrounding the island, hidden anti-ship missiles stationed on the coast, and special units concealed within the labyrinthine tunnel systems beneath the island pose a major tactical risk for the American military. However, elite special operations units and heavy armored support brought in by C-17s were trained months in advance with a zero-error doctrine to overcome these natural and man-made obstacles. Immediately after B-52 bombers completely paralyzed the island's radars, command centers, and radar stations, paratrooper units transported by helicopters are planned to take control of strategic terminals. This is not merely about gaining a small piece of land. It is about breaking the enemy's logistical backbone with a single surgical operation. The success of the operation will determine the geopolitical fate of the military presence in the region for the coming decades. Initiating a ground offensive toward Kharg Island has a domino effect that will simultaneously shake global power balances. While Allied states hope this bold move will permanently stabilize energy prices and ensure supply security, rivals are preparing to characterize this occupation as a clear violation of international law. However, the military reality on the ground has moved far beyond diplomacy and messages of condemnation. The physical presence of 20,000 troops demonstrates how determined and prepared Washington is to play this massive strategic gamble. Once the Kharg Island operation actually commences, all maritime traffic in the Strait of Hormuz will come to a complete standstill, and the global economy will be locked onto the outcome of this occupation. This is not just a regional conflict or a border dispute. It is a historic turning point where the ownership and management of energy resources change hands. The Talon is now in the air, waiting to descend upon the heart of the island at any moment. Under normal circumstances, the streets of Tehran should be celebrating the Nowruz festival, but today a deep, humming silence and great fear prevail. The fact that 20,000 American troops are at their borders and B-52s are overhead at any moment has led to a state of total paralysis and administrative blindness within the regime apparatus. Mojtaba Khamenei's functional and ineffective leadership can produce no concrete defense strategy or diplomatic way out in the face of this massive existential threat. Although state television continues to broadcast heroic marches and old victory videos, leaked intelligence about high-level bureaucrats, wealthy elites, and generals making secret escape plans for their families is being discussed everywhere behind closed doors. This collapse of central authority causes local commanders to make uncoordinated decisions on their own, which completely disrupts the strategic integrity of the country's general defense line. As the regime faces the greatest threat in its history, only silence and deep chaos occupy the seat of leadership. The presidential administration's statement that the Iranian leadership is currently nothing more than a shadow provides the clearest signal that the military buildup on the ground will soon be coupled with a major political purge. The thousands of fresh troops arriving via C-17 transport aircraft appear ready not only to physically seize Kharg Island, but also to completely sweep away the last remnants of control over the regime. Mojtaba's imprisonment in bunkers due to fear of assassination and his total detachment from the people have irreversibly accelerated the dissolution within the regime's ideological base. Deep distrust and mutual accusations between army units and the Revolutionary Guard have become the enemy's greatest ally on the field. 20,000 troops, the constant shadow of B-52s, and Kharg Island Operation plans have moved the war from the question of how it will end to when, and in what time frame it will end. At the military report, we will continue to monitor every cloud of dust in Hormuz and every tremor in Tehran in real time. The fate of the world is hidden within these smoky and tense hours. subscribe, turn on notifications, and witness the largest reckoning in history with us. Thank you, and stay strategic.